First of all, I want to make clear, I personally don't have a mission. I have found it extremely attractive, fascinating, and challenging to accept the possibility that I could, through unconscious assimilation, extract, subsequently codify, and offer to the world precise representations of skill sets and patterns which are characteristic of geniuses. But it's an offering, it's not a mission. So I offer the world an option. What the world does with it is the free marketplace of ideas. There is a pressure, as the same pressure you find in any field, to make things more efficient in terms of transfer. Frankly, every time I present a pattern in an NLP seminar, explicitly, I'm robbing the participants of a profound experience of discovery. In the new code in particular, those classes of training events tend to emphasize a lot more discovery than imposition. Now, notice the imposition in a training context, when it's done, in my opinion, ecologically, is to create, even at the level of the training, multiple choices. So the same principle that applies to an intervention by an agent of change with a specific client or family or group as a consultant applies to the training context as well. Your job is to create choice. It may be that the pressure of competition in the marketplace has driven people to violate the quality requirements that I personally think are useful for the assimilation of NLP patterning. People have to make their own decisions about this. You can get a superficial understanding of some of the patterns of NLP in a short period of time. In the actual trainings that Inspirative does, as well as the work that Carmen and I do in various places around the world, the balance, the tension as we sense it, is the participants have committed a certain amount of money, attention, and time to a transfer pattern. At the end of our workshops, nobody in those workshops typically has mastery of the patterns we've presented. But if we've done our job just right, we have created enough supervised exercises, we've created enough demonstrations, we've offered enough metaphors, explicit frames, examples, and forced generalization of the patterns to the point that with a subsequent congruent commitment to practice in a disciplined manner, mastery can be achieved. This is the tension between how much material, how many patterns do we cover, and how deeply do we cover them. This is an artistic issue, and feedback will answer the question whether we've succeeded or not. Someone who can pretend to be a NLP practitioner at the end of a small number of days with extremely limited experience is either an extremely powerful self-starter who's going to go out there and essentially teach themselves through trial and error, or someone who doesn't appreciate the profundity of the patterns which they've been exposed to, as far as I can tell. So in a competitive open marketplace, there's going to be this movement toward smaller and smaller commitments of time, attention, and energy. My own perceptions is that the quality of what's called NLP in the world has suffered enormously because of uninformed customers who cannot tell the difference between the quality of training. They can only tell the difference between the price tag and the number of days of commitment. This is an ongoing struggle. In the marketplace of free ideas, over an extended period of time, those well-trained and well-certified and well-turned-out practitioners will demonstrate a quality difference which is worth more than the differences in the time and the money required to achieve that level of competency in those patterns. This is an ongoing problem that won't be solved by legislation. It won't be solved by anything except people coming to an appreciation of how profoundly effective someone who's been trained in an appropriate context is relative to a quick turned out person who knows some of the words and can follow certain formats, stuffing people, whatever their response is, into the categories and the formats. It's important to be explicit about this point. The patterns once coded are a way of inviting an agent of change to where to fix their attention and in what sequence they should do these attention fixing points, and where to instruct their client or group to fix their attention. They're a shorthand. Mastery of an NLP pattern implies for me two criteria: consistent, successful self-application, number one, and number two, a recognition in deep operational competency that when you're applying step N in format Y, when you run into something which doesn't allow that step to be accomplished under the normal rules of engagement, you understand immediately the intention behind that step and have a dozen ways of rolling off that impediment to find a way through to satisfying the intention of that step without being spellbound by a particular move that you learned. This is the difference between having a superficial appreciation of these patterns and having a deep backstory which allows you to understand what it is that your task is as an agent of change or as a trainer. I know of no way to clean up this mess that I witness in the world other than by this consistent demonstration of a difference in quality in the product of the trainings.